It's time to fire this thing up.
Welcome aboard ShipShape TV Essentials. This is your port of call for the most impactful upgrades, expert advice, and hands-on solutions from seasons past. This episode is proudly brought to you by Shur-Lok, because anything worth doing is worth doing bright. From cleaning to protecting and perfecting, Shur-Lok has everything you need to keep your boat shining. Don't just go boating, go showboating. Now, let's hoist anchor and set a course for another exciting episode of ShipShape TV Essentials.
Countersink some holes, screw it down, and I'm again going to let this glass out. Dry fit this thing into the boat. Man, I can't believe how much dirt gets in this boat. I must have missed this fish blood stain the last time I got out. It's given me a little bit of aerobic activity here this morning. Hi, I'm John Greviskis. It's good to have you working around the boat with us today. I must have missed some fish blood stains the last time I got out, and it seems like the boat's getting a lot of dirt and a lot of sand blown into it. Now, every couple of days I have to clean this thing in order to keep it looking halfway decent, and the reason that is our wet slip is adjacent to the boatyard, and there's a lot of gravel slag out there behind the boatyard. And whenever we get a prevailing wind from the southeast or from the southwest, a lot of that dirt and dust settles into the boat. Now, what would be nice is if we had some sort of canvas enclosure to keep that dirt out of here, and that's exactly what we're going to be getting into today here at ShipShape TV. Now, we also have a professional boat detailer who's going to be joining us, and he's going to show us how to better attack some of these stubborn stains. So here's the trade-off. We need to get you to spend the next half hour with us, and in exchange, right after I gather up a few more cleaning supplies for the boat, we'll be letting you in on a few more ways to keep your vessel shipshape.
This is a real working 28-acre boatyard located in Stuart, Florida, on the shores of the Okeechobee Waterway. It's home base for ShipShape TV. This deep stretch of water connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. And now, once again, here's the host of ShipShape TV, John Greviskis.
Thanks, Buck. The first thing that I'd like to get into today is the actual making of that canvas enclosure. But before we start designing anything, we have a couple of questions to ask, like what type of cloth is available, how is it going to get fastened to the boat, and how do we take care of it once it is installed? And thank goodness we have a man who makes his living from marine canvas with us today. His name is Mike Troskin, and he's with G&G Custom Canvas. And Mike, I just want to thank you for stopping by the boatyard.
Well, thank you for having me on.
First off, I would like to find out some of our options. You know what we're looking to do here? We want to put a canvas enclosure here on the Stamis. What type of cloth is available?
Well, we have 4 different types of cloth. First, we have a stamoid, which is a vinyl-coated nylon, very lightweight, very easy to clean, and it's totally water repellent.
Okay.
All right, our next product is called Weblon. Again, it's a vinyl-coated nylon. It's a lot heavier, and it's very easy to keep clean, and it also is totally waterproof. The product that we should use on the boat, though, is Sunbrella. The simple fact is the Sunbrella is a breathable material, and down here in Florida, you want the boat to be able to breathe. Anytime you go out fishing, you come back, you clean your boat up, you install your canvas, what happens is all the moisture is trapped inside the boat. This will allow that to evaporate through the canvas. The canvas is also water repellent and mildew resistant. It comes in a bunch of different colors.
Okay.
And it's
how hard is it to clean it? I want to go with white if I can, if it's easy to clean.
It's easy enough to clean. All you'd have to do is take this and throw it in a large commercial wash machine with a 1/4 cup of soap, wash it, and then wash it again with just fresh water. You shouldn't have to do that for at least a year or two. You should be able to just come back in, hose it down, and it'll be fine.
What's this material?
This material is Sea-Mark. This is also Sunbrella, but it has a solid vinyl backing, which makes it totally waterproof, but it allows you a lot of different colors, It's a real nice material to work with.
Okay.
And we use this a lot on bimini tops because the water doesn't come through, it won't mist through, but you still have the bright colors.
Okay, nice. Now, Mike, we also have, we have to deal with some side curtains for the boat here. I'd like to have some visibility or some optics out into the water. What are our choices in that?
Well, we have 3 different types of glasses. First, we have a product called Strata Glass. It's a very hard, scratch-resistant product. It's 40 gauge, has very high optics.
Okay.
Then we have the product that I use most, which is a 30 gauge sheet glass. Again, very high optics. It's a pressed vinyl. It also comes in a 40 weight, which we use on our larger boats.
This is also commonly referred to as Isinglass, right?
Isinglass,
Okay.
right.
Okay, very good. And what's this other one?
Then we have what we call roll glass. And this comes on a 52-inch wide roll.
Right.
It's you can buy it in 20-yard rolls. It's very low optics, but it's very cost
effective. Okay. So we're going to be going with the Isinglass and the Sunbrella.
Right. We're going to use a 30 gauge Isinglass with the white Sunbrella product.
Okay. Talk to me about the fasteners that are available and what we're going to use on the boat.
We have different types of fasteners. We have what we call durable dots. These are caps, sockets. This is a windshield clip. We're going to use those along the edging of your windshield.
Okay.
This is a durable stud. This actually screws into the boat. You just seal it with a little polyseam sealer silicone, and that goes into the fiberglass itself.
This is what they call a
regular durable snap.
Durable snap. Okay. So the material would go in between this stud and this, just like that.
And I have a press that'll fasten them
and
together.
then that just snaps right onto the snap. Okay. That's a very, very common fastener.
These are called lift dots because you can see there's a little dot right there, and it tells you to lift right there. This is the stud that actually goes into the hull. This I would use like on a plexiglass windshield. I can drill that, cut that threaded shaft down, and then put a lock nut on it.
Okay.
This fastener here goes into the cloth, and this is what we call our twist locks or Murphys, common sense.
Alrighty.
This actually goes into the hull. This part would go into the fabric with a backing plate.
What's this stuff here?
This up here is our track. What we're going to use is we're going to use a PVC plastic track on your boat today.
Okay.
The reason being is that it's flexible, and where we have the curve in the back of the hardtop, I'll be able to bend that to fit. Along the sides where we have it's kind of low, if you ever bumped into it, it's not going to scratch your head or cut you.
It also color coordinates with the boat, so I like that. Okay.
The aluminum track, we'll use something like this on a T-top or a big tower top where I have to go between spans and I have to get the strength and rigidity. This, though, if you put it down below, you'd be more than likely to nick yourself.
I've actually put a hole in the top of my head.
Right,
with
a
the
lot of
aluminum
people
track.
have.
So okay. So we're going to go with this this PVC stuff.
Right.
Well, how do we actually make a pattern for these different curtains and all that?
Well, the first thing we'll have to do is put a piece of track up across the top and then put the studs in the side of the boat. I've already pre-cut a piece of track to go in there, so the next thing we need to do is just go ahead and hang it, and we'll start on that project. Once we have the track in place, what we'll do then is we'll set the windshield clips down the side. We'll drill the 3 studs for the side of the boat, and before you put the studs in, what you want to do is countersink that hole a little bit with a number 2 Phillips bit. Then set your screws. This way you don't chip the gel coat. After we have all the snaps in place, we'll go ahead and place a piece of visqueen, clamp it to the track, and then snap it to the actual snaps in the boat. That will make my full pattern. We'll mark it for our zipper line, and we'll take it upstairs and we'll cut it out.
After Mike got all of the patterns laid out, they started the process of cutting the material to size. Now there's a lot of sewing involved when making an enclosure, and it takes a lot of thread. The type of thread that we used for this project was called Gore-Tex thread, which is one of the most expensive threads out on the market due to the fact that it's impervious to UV rays and it will last a very, very long time.
As John ties up some loose ends, let's see what the G-Man looks for when he's selecting a candidate that very well could be the next ShipShape TV project boat.
If you're planning on buying an older boat that has wooden stringers in it, you might want to ask permission from the boat owner if you can drill a small exploratory hole in that stringer. Now, if the wood is in good condition, you're fine. If it's wet but still firm, you still might be okay. All you need to do is you need to drain that water out and seal that up. However, if it's dry rotted, you might want to try to negotiate a little bit better price, because down the road you're going to have to replace those stringers, and there's a lot of work involved in that. Be decent when you're done with it. Make sure that you mix up a good quality epoxy and inject that hole with it in order to seal the water from coming in there.
Where do you learn this stuff, John? Great tip. That'll help a lot of people. But unfortunately, the project is not complete, so let's get back into it.
Well, again, Mike from G&G Custom Canvas talked me into going with this Isinglass, but he did warn me that it can scratch on you, and how it can scratch is in the cleaning process, especially if you use the wrong type of brush on the material. If you use something where the filament in the brush has very, very harsh bristles, it's really going to hamper the optics. It can also hamper the gel coat or the finish on your boat if you use the wrong type of brush. And recently I had the opportunity to actually see how some of these brushes are made. Let's go have a look and roll that footage. Now, Barry, talk to me about this machine. What's going on here?
What you're seeing here is an actual deck brush being made. This is our 10-inch brush. The right side of the machine is drilling the holes. The left side of the machine is filling the holes with the filament, and these are staple set brushes, which means the filament is held in the hole by a staple. The machine runs in tandem. Both sides run together. Both platforms move at the same angle. So hole number 1 is drilled on A side at the same time that hole number 1 on B side is filled.
What type of wood are you using for that block?
All of our woods are premium hardwood, similar to a maple or a beech.
Okay. Now, how long does that actually take to make a brush?
Depending on the brush model, it'll take between 45 seconds and a minute and 15 seconds.
Now, once it's all made, where does it go from there?
From this process here, we have another machine here called the trimmer and flagger. This machine is similar to giving the brush a haircut. What actually will happen is the operator will take the brush and place it in here. They fire up the machine, and the machine actually runs the brush through, cuts all the filament to the same length, and then at the end of the process, there's special blades that actually split the filament ends in half and in half again to allow it to soak up more soap and water, which you'll see when the brush comes out.
I noticed that your filament on this particular brush, Barry, is crimped. It has a crimp, a distinct crimp to it. Why is that?
What the crimp does is it throws, when it's all cut the same, every tip is facing in a different direction, which allows it to clean more surfaces in more ways at once. Not everything's perfectly smooth. Dirt's all over the place in all different directions, and by the filament facing different ways, it grabs more dirt.
I noticed that in your line you use different filament.
Yes, we do.
Barry, what are they for?
Different filament for a different job. They always say use the right tool for the right job. We have nylon, polypropylene, and polystyrene, and they come in different thicknesses and strengths. An isinglass on the boat, a plexi, you only want to use the nylon on. It's the softest and it's the weakest. What it does, it will bend the easiest. Most of your general cleaning, your gel coats, you'll use the polypropylene. Okay. That's what we're running right now. And this comes in different grades. We have a soft and a medium. And then our white is a polystyrene, and this is our most coarse. You're going to get the under of the boat, get the scum line done, your teak, it'll scrub real well. So you got to use the right one for the right job. Make sure you take care of your vessel right.
The real key to your whole brush system here is the handle.
Correct.
Can you show us how those are made?
Yeah. As you know, John, with any product, the most important thing and the key to any good product is the quality. The first thing we do in this stage here is we inspect the quality of the wood block, of the way it was assembled, the way the filament went in, and make sure that everything's nice and ready and aesthetically looks good, so it looks nice on those big yachts out there.
What's she putting on the block?
The white piece is a soft rubber bumper. Each one of our brushes gets assembled with that. That protects the brush from scuffing up the boat and the gel coat when you get overzealous in your washing.
That's a good idea.
From there, you notice she put in this aluminum adapter. Every one of our brushes and attachments has one of these, and this adapter gets put in with a stainless steel screw, again, so everything is rust-proof. and has this stainless steel locking pin, what we call our Shur-Lok system, and allows this handle to go, this brush I should say, to fit in any one of our handles.
That's really the key to this whole system is that handle.
Yes,
and you build them here.
We do build them here, other side of the factory.
Let's go take a look.
Okay.
Now, what type of metal are you using for your handles here, Barry?
All of our handles are made out of a heat-treated aluminum. It's triple anodized to protect it from the elements.
Okay.
The
Now,
first step in making a handle is obviously cutting the handle to the right length.
Sure.
And then from the raw cutting stage, we have to finish the ends to make sure that they're not rough. And that's what Gary's doing down here.
Okay.
Is we have custom-made bits that will actually form and take the rough edge of the aluminum that's cut and give it a finished bull nose. And I'll show you a piece right here. If you take a look at this one that he just finished, it's actually rounded all the way around, and you can run your finger on that, and you won't get cut or burred or scratched by it.
Doesn't a handle go on one side?
A grip does go on one side.
Why would you do both sides?
What we're concerned about always in boating is safety. And if it's rough on the inside and the grip, it can actually cut through the grip and then cut someone's hand. So we make sure we radius both ends so it's finished always.
Where does it go from here?
From here, it needs to be punched. And this is our punch press over here. What will happen here is the aluminum will get slid inside, and the machine actually presses down on it and puts a pattern of holes on it depending on what type of handle we're building, whether it's a fixed length or a telescoping handle.
And that's really the whole secret behind this system that you have, is that the attachments lock into the handle, right?
Right, and I'll show you where we finish up the handles and some of our attachments.
Okay.
Over here, each one of those holes that is punched on the punch press will get radiused and deburred, again making sure there's nothing sharp to scratch anyone, that it's nice and smooth and radiused. The inners and the outers on the telescoping poles will be mated together. Our locking spring pin and guide system will be put in, and of course the labeling and the grips and everything to make it ready for retail.
Now show us how your attachments fit into this.
Okay. Any one of our handles, whether it be our telescoping or our fixed length handles, will attach to any one of our attachments, much like the brush that we made earlier today with you. This is one of the brushes we made yesterday, and if you just take it, push the button, it snaps right in, allowing a positive lock, and you get to have one handle for all of your attachments on the boat.
That's great. That's really got to save boat owners a lot of space.
Yeah, you're able to have one handle, all the attachments, less storage space, more things you could do.
Barry, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. We need to head back to the boat in order to start the process of cleaning it. Thank you, Barry.
Thank you.
I've got a little different type of brush that I'm going to be using on a nasty little rust stain that I have on one of my vinyl cushions. This is an ordinary toothbrush, and what I've made is a little paste out of some ordinary household cleanser that has a little bit of bleach in it and a little bit of water. And now what I'm going to do to get this rust stain lifted out of that vinyl is I'm going to scrub it in little circular motions, just like this. And that usually does the trick in lifting out the stain. After it is lifted out, you want to take a little bit of water and you want to rinse it off. But if it's still in there, what you want to do is you want to mix up a little bit more paste, and you want to again scrub it on there with your toothbrush. And that just about does it. You'll set it out in the sun for about 20 minutes. And that leads us into our next guest on the show, who happens to be a professional boat detailer. His name is Ed Morozek, and he's with Squeaky Clean Mobile Yacht Care. Ed, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having us, John.
You know, at the beginning of the show, Ed, I was really getting an aerobic workout as I was trying to get some old fish blood off of the deck of the boat. And what I was using was a mild detergent along with a deck brush, and it was kind of futile. It really didn't even touch the stain. Now, what can we use to get this thing off?
Well, I think we ought to try with a couple of stronger products, John. Got the right idea starting with the mild stuff first, but maybe we can knock it out with a little bleach.
Okay. Just regular, ordinary household bleach?
Yeah, we'll pour a little on there and see what happens. You want to work your way up to the stronger chemicals. This way you won't hurt the finish of your boat.
I also noticed that you're using a Scotch-Brite pad or a scrubby.
Right. This is something you wouldn't want to use on any of your smooth surfaces. On the non-skid, you're okay, but when you have a nice gel coat like this, you'll scratch it right away.
I don't hate to bust your bubble, but the bleach isn't doing anything.
No, it's not doing a thing, John.
Okay.
So we'll move up to a cleanser.
Now, you don't want to know how old this fish blood is. It tells you how often I go fishing.
It looks like it's been there a while,
It's
John.
about 6 weeks. I don't get out much.
Well, we'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Now, we'll put a little bit of cleanser on there. It's still a little wet from the bleach. And we'll just work it in. Again, you wouldn't want to use a product like this on any of the smooth surfaces.
Okay. Now, should you use this with a lot of water? Do you want me to give you a little water down there? Or?
Yeah, we can use some water.
Let me give you a little squirt here. That kind of helps with keeping the grit off.
Right. And that seems to be starting to break it loose. Now, since it's been on here for a while, you may have to work at it for quite a while.
Now, will that, leaving that type of cleanser in the sun, will that help break that down too?
Yes, it can, because they all have, they're all bleach-based type things.
Okay. Well, you know, we're going to be putting this canvas enclosure on the boat today, Ed, and I wanted to maybe learn how to take care of it once it is installed. Let's start off with the Isinglass. What do you guys use as professional boat detailers to keep from scratching? Mike was saying that you could scratch this material.
That scratches very easily. We like to use a soft lamb's wool mitt, rinse it thoroughly, use a mild soap, soap it all down, rinse it off thoroughly. Stay away from products that are alcohol-based, such as Rain-X or Invisible Shield.
A lot of guys like to get that visibility when it's raining, though.
Well, you can accomplish the same thing with a wax-type product. The alcohol-based products react with the plastic, and eventually they could fog it.
Okay. Now, how do we store our Isinglass? I've got some set up here.
Okay.
Right here. How do we store this material?
Well, the first thing you want to do is make sure you always lay it flat, such as this is. And in between the layers, make sure you put a towel or some type of cloth or a sheet. That prevents it from sticking together, fogging, yellowing, mildew. It'll really help you out a lot.
You mentioned yellowing. Come on over here. I want to show you something. I broke out some old canvas that used to be on this boat, and we have some Isinglass here that is slightly yellowed.
Right.
Would you call that slightly?
Yes,
That's slightly yellow.
That's pretty bad, John.
Can you get that yellow out?
No, actually the plastic is starting to go bad at that point, and there's really nothing you can do but replace it.
Okay. Well, how do we get little scratches out of the Isinglass? Can you show us how to do that?
Sure. We can use any type of plastic type polish or even a wax sometimes. Take a soft rag. Don't use anything with any grit in it because you'll make the scratch even worse.
Okay.
And we'll just put a little bit on here. And take where your scratch is. It's like there's one there. And just, you don't have to put too much pressure because the more pressure you put on it, the more you could damage the glass.
Okay, now a deep scratch?
A deep scratch, forget it. You'll either have to live with it or replace it.
Well, Mike, how's it coming along?
Well, John, we're all done. What we've done is we've got our two side curtains finished. We've got our aft curtain finished. And what we've done on our aft curtain and tops of our side curtains is we added a Keder welt. This is a fiberglass beaded track rope. And what we'll do is we'll just slide this into the track, zip our two side curtains together, and then we'll go ahead and we'll take it downstairs and put the snaps in, and we'll be done with it.
What's the advantage of this material?
It makes it real easy to slide. If you use a plastic on plastic track, we'll use an aluminum here, but it just very easily, it slides right in and it holds it in place. That way you eliminate all the snaps in the boat.
All right, good deal. Well, how about if I grab the side curtains, you grab this back curtain, and let's put it in.
All righty.
All right, Mike, how do we do this?
All right, John, we're going to slide this into the track right here. This will go all the way forward. Pull that nice and tight. Put a mark. And we're going to use a snap-in press. This is the tool that I use to put the fasteners in. Take one cap, one socket. Put it on the mark. And just squeeze. And that's our snap. Pull that down.
Really slick. That's fast.
Set that.
Now, Mike, is there anything that you know of that would work well as a lubricant for these snaps? They can seize up on you if you're not lubricating them.
Well, you can take a Q-tip and some kind of a petroleum product to petroleum jelly and put a real light coat on the inside of this. If you fill this up with petroleum jellies or naval jelly, what's going to happen is it's going to melt in the heat down here, and then it's going to end up running down the side of your boat and making a big mess. As far as your zippers are concerned, any kind of a lip balm or something like that, you can rub it on the zipper pull, down the zippers, and the zipper pull itself, which is on the other side here, that's made out of aluminum, and it's going to seize up if it's left to sit in the salts too long.
Okay, the zipper, this is nylon. This is aluminum.
That's aluminum pull, and what will happen with this is when this is down, the salt water is just going to get into this, and it's just going to seize up over a couple of years. So what you have to do is every time you come back in from boating, rinse it out real good with fresh water.
Okay.
And you shouldn't have any problem with that. If you do have that, if it does seize up, you can take a little screwdriver and push it right in through here, give it a twist, this will pop open, and then down at the bottom, these are designed so that you can open that up and slide a new slide right on there.
Oh, that's very handy.
So, but you shouldn't have any problem with that if you rinse it down with fresh water every time.
All right, well, let's get these last two closures on, and I think we're all done here. I know that we still have to put some into the boat to finish it up, but this will give everybody a finished look here. And Mike, I need to thank you along with G&G Custom Canvas. Did a nice job. It's going to keep a lot of dirt out of the boat, and it's going to save me a lot of time in cleaning. I also need to thank Ed from over at the Squeaky Clean company for helping us learn how to take care of the boat, and naturally you for watching along. But Mike,
Funding for Ship Shape TV has been provided by